Welcome to another episode of Sip and Ponder with Sagai is here. We're about to put you up to speed with the recent happenings in the country. And with me on the show today is a football manager, coach Olisa. My bro, welcome to Sip and Ponder.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So before we kick right into the show, as the name implies, Sip and Ponder, I want you to test and rate what Sagai has cooked. Rate it on a scale of 10.
Hmm. It's not bad. I think it's solid 8 over 10.
I cook. Let's jump right into it. This is uh, a topic people find to be very sensitive. I didn't say in the introduction, Coach Olisa is a graduate of law in the Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Okay, so something happened in Delta State very
Yes.
recently, and you shared your opinion on X on Twitter. You shared your opinion regarding the Ozoro Incident, and one of the things that caught my eye and caught the eye of a lot of other people on X was the part where you say prevention is better than cure. Let me have your take generally on what happened in Delta State.
Okay. My name is Coach Olisa once again. So on Twitter, I'm always active on Twitter.
Very
So
active.
one of those days, a
Mm,
few days ago, I saw a post. When the post was still fresh, I saw a post that there was a rape festival
mm,
in some part of Delta State.
mm.
So when I saw the headline, it was quite interesting, an interesting headline. So I had to, move on to watch some of the videos attached to the post. So I went through the videos and I noticed that some young boys were sexually assaulting women in those videos. So I went through the whole videos to be sure, and I realized that from everything that was going on, there happened to be a festival where women are told to stay indoors and for the duration of the festival. And some women were unfortunate to have come out and they were a victim of circumstances. But on the larger scale, Delta State is a state and Ozoro is a community that has a university. So rape festival being tagged to whatever happened in Ozoro was overreaching. In as much as I condemn whatever those women went through, but there was no evidence of rape. And I pointed that out that there was no evidence of rape in as much as there was evidence of violence, sexual harassment on women. There was no rape whatsoever. Because I know that we live in a sensitive world
Mm.
and things tend to have more value when it is rare. So if every harassment a woman faces, she calls it rape, rape will start losing its value. So it's actually a fight for women, not against them. So I tagged it that it's not a rape festival, rather it's a festival that the intentions were overridden by those um, uncivilized young men. So that was the issue. So I posted a comment and I posted a lot of things with regards to what happened. So I condemned the act and I also advised that for the sake of tomorrow, the best the best thing to do in similar situations is to avoid being a victim of circumstance. So I also pointed out with regards to Mocha that happens here in Oka.
Mm.
So I've lived in Oka for a while. I have a lot of Oka friends. But on the day of Imoka, I don't step out. Not because I cannot fight for my rights, not because I don't know my right as a lawyer, but there are things you just have to prevent. So I stay in my house and then I watch TV or do other things to avoid being a victim of circumstance. This goes beyond just Oka. When I was younger, everybody in their village experienced it. Before you became 20 or 18, you wouldn't be allowed to see masquerade and all of those things.
Mm.
There are some masquerade that will come out, they will say pregnant women should go inside. There are some masquerade that will come out if you're not up to 18. There are some that will even come out, nobody should come out at all, maybe at night. So these norms are all over Nigeria. It's not a culture of planning to rape women whatsoever. Those women were just a victim of circumstances, a victim of culture that has had its value. It's just maybe this particular situation made it look different. So I pointed all these things out and also condemned the act. But Twitter being a place where agenda flies before truth,
mm,
um, they sort of took the other side of my opinion and popularized it. And also, I noticed that if you remember, there was a case of Mirabel,
mm.
a girl that accused someone of raping her and even made a video about it crying, and then went on to text herself, send a message to herself, claiming that it was the rapist that sent the message. So when the issue came out on Twitter, I was one of the first people that called it fake before everybody realized it was true. It was actually fake. I called it fake, so I received a lot of backlash from people that claim to be Twitter feminists. I received a lot of backlash, and since then, I believe my account has been under watch. So recently, when I made this comment, they took that tweet of me calling out Mirabel's case. And as well as I was correct, they still took the tweet and put it next to my tweet about prevention being better than cure,
Mm.
and then popularized it, saying that I support rape, I disregard women who are victim of rape. But in these two instances, there was no rape.
So let me read out the statement that was put out by the police PRO, Delta State, Bright Dafe, if I am pronouncing his name right. So this was posted by Channels Television on X. It says, the headline says, among the 4 girls interviewed yesterday, no one said they were raped. Up to this moment, we have not had any official reports that anyone was raped. This is from the police. You mentioned that if every crime committed towards the female gender is termed rape, that the value of that word drops. Do you think in recent times, owing to the trends of events, before Mirabel, there was a girl from OAU who had falsely accused someone of rape. There was the other girl who accused the rude boy of P Square, former P Square, of rape. All of these are cases that have been found to be untrue.
I think to a very good extent, the word rape has been reduced to some extent in the Nigerian social media space because we've seen cases of women coming out to claim that a man, had sexual intercourse with them without their consent. So a lot of them has been investigated and are found not to be true, just mere allegation. So I think the word is gradually losing its its value because initially, if a woman comes out and says she was raped by a man, the whole world just reacts and believes whatever she has to say.
Mm.
If she now adds tears to it, it becomes a golden case. So the whole world has to fight for her and all of those things. But now, if you notice, men are becoming more sensible. Every issue of rape is now being scrutinized as much as possible. From the angle of whoever is claiming the rape, and also from the angle of whoever is whoever is said to be the rapist.
How would you say that we should welcome a, 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 a great case when someone comes out and say that he or she have been, sexually molested? How do you think that we should welcome it?
If someone says that they have been sexually molested,
Mm.
it should be investigated. One, after you when you say sexually molested, does that include rape or just sexual
Yes,
assault?
yes. I mean anything that involves a sexual offense.
Yes, I think the first step to any of these things is to report to the police. If you can, go to the hospital and do a test so that you can have some piece of evidence. Because in court, you need to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt.
Mm. Some people are saying that bringing in logic to
Mm.
this, owing to the fact that, oh, people are afraid to speak up due to the fact that some of these sexual offenses, as a victim, you really don't have that urge to come out and speak because you don't want it to be associated with you. You don't want to be known as the boy that was molested and all of that. That you know, putting out, telling these people or bringing out this logic, like you said, that it shows lack of sympathy. Do you agree with this, or you think that there is a way to
Well,
balance it?
well, I will always speak as a lawyer. The thing is, It might sound as though I'm not sympathetic to the victims because I'm requiring them to go through some processes that are quite logical. However, if you are faced as a false rape victim, a girl accuses you of rape, you would want the girl to prove it. When the table turns, it becomes interesting.
Of course.
So imagine a situation where a girl claims that you touched her or you harassed her sexually or you raped her. And then, out of sympathy, her case is being believed and you are being prosecuted for it. Does that make sense?
It's very bad.
Exactly. So we live in a world where we have been made to believe that every woman is innocent and every man is guilty until proven innocent, and every woman is innocent until proven guilty. That's quite fucked up because it's really really messed up because women are equally as capable as evil as men. They may not have the physical strength to execute their plans, but they can convince people to do it on their behalf. Do you understand? And those people are mostly men. So when she realizes that she has the community backing, her immediate community backing, she can just wake up and decide to punish you for what you didn't do and get away with it. So if you say this happened to you and you really want to take up the case, you are serious about taking up the case, you shouldn't care about what people have to say about you. If you are serious about what you are going for, if you come to my land and steal my land and start building on it, I won't be shameless about going after you. If as a guy, if a girl, maybe a group of girls, because one girl can't replace, so maybe a group of girls decide to forcefully have sex with me, it's either I enjoyed it or I did not. And if I did not, I would be so shameless about pursuing justice. So the world will always shame people for coming out to speak up against for themselves, but that shouldn't deter anybody that is really hot from rape. If you are hot, you should actually do everything possible to get justice, because we live in a justice system now. It's no longer about your words against mine. You have to provide substantial evidence to prove your claims beyond reasonable doubt in a court of law, not on social media. Personally, I think any girl that comes to social media to claim she was raped is clouting. She's not serious. If you are raped, you should be at the police station or the hospital. That's exactly where you should be.
But we all know the policing system in the
The
country.
policing system in the country, the police, I would condemn Nigerian police to some extent, but men are always sensitive to the matter of women. See, everybody buys the sympathy of a woman, almost every man. If you go outside the road now and you are fighting with a woman, if people come, they will ask what happened. They will start beating you first as a guy. The larger percentage of men on earth still buys into the sympathy of women. So if you go to the police station, if the policemen are not even acting well, you can look for the female police. They will act on your case. Never in my life have I heard that a person took a rape case to the police station with evidence and the police didn't act on it. Do you have any instance? There are always stories that Nigerian police, are incapable of, dishing out justice and all of those things. But have you tried? So it's just speculations, assumptions, and things that will make you to emotionally move. Women know how to convince. That's their biggest power. They can't beat you into believing. So you need to find a way to convince you.
Let me take you to this aspect of this. Do you think that this whole issue have been turned into a gender war?
Yes, there has always been a gender war.
To what extent is this gender war?
The gender war is all over the social media, and there is nobody, at least in this whole world, that doesn't have a social media account. And at least, to a very good extent, we all spend a large amount of number in social media, and the things we see tend to, make impressions in our head. So if gender war is spread all over social media, and people always spend time in social media, that means there is gender war even in real life. It's very subtle.
They say that words are like seeds, and at the right time, it will germinate.
Exactly.
The words we consume on social media,
exactly,
it comes into our reality.
Exactly.
Right on.
So the gender war is sort of the most popular people pushing the gender war are the ones that call feminists. Personally, I don't. The world is we keep developing. I don't find value in being a feminist because I don't believe feminism helps women.